Hey, it's Make It Make Sense, Mary. How is your day? Welcome back to Mixed Messages. And to all of my returning viewers, you guys are perfect. To all of my new viewers, hi, hey, hello. And we are glad to have you here. We hope that you enjoy. So, here on Mixed Messages, this is a feel good show where we're going to have a great conversation. The topics will vary. And me and my guests are basically just going to kind of try to give you some tips and tools on how to apply the things that we're talking about based on our this kind of life experience and continuous journey. So on that note, let's just kind of get started right now. So on Mixed Messages today, we have Amaru Jahseh, one of my favorite people. So as you know, I'm Make It Make Sense, Mary. And on Mixed Messages, we like to mix it up a little bit. So you have 60 seconds to tell us who Amaru is and make it make sense. Who are you? Where'd you come from? Go.
Well, that started.
No pressure.
I'm from, I'm from Florida. I grew up in a nice little small big city. Music is kind of, it's not my life, but it's a part of it. It's what keeps me going. It motivates me. It keeps me balanced when chaos is erupting. I'm just a guy with a voice that's trying to heal the world the best way I can.
Hey, well said. Look, so he says he's just a guy with a voice. I happen to, like I said, know this guy. So I'm pleased to be able to talk to you again, especially here on Mixed Messages. And he has some great music. So as far as I know, he is still on all major platforms. So make sure to check him out. And where can we find that real quick, just while we're on the topic? Where's your music
You can
at?
find on YouTube, Apple Music. Just I'm everywhere. Just type in the name, I'll pop up.
There we go. And the links and everything will be in the comments. So let's just kind of kick it off. So like I said, we're going to talk about all different topics here on Mixed Messages. And today, I think that the topic is going to be judgment. So the last episode, I believe we talked about going with your gut and like kind of when you have that feeling. I think that that was the the plan for the week. So let me know how that went. And this week we're going to talk about judgment. So when I say judgment, what does that mean to you, Amaru?
Judgment. I think to me, I feel like it means like you kind of just. I don't want to say criticizing anybody, but I feel like it's you kind of just. Oh, I'm trying to think of the word.
It's like,
Like right there. It's right there, like on the tip of my brain. I can't think of it.
it'll come to you. It'll come to you. But yeah, it's like judgment. It's almost like when it comes to judging people, right? It's almost like just thinking you know something about them or you know who they are, but you don't, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking and I look at like a lot of different like podcasts and stuff, and like I always say, when I'm talking to you guys, I'm talking to myself as well. And I'm like, judgment is something that we really have to kind of look within ourselves if we're going to better ourselves and become self-aware. And, we have to understand that everybody is going to be judged, right? That's just part of life. But what can we do when it comes to us as individuals and how we're judging other people. And like, do you think that that has just an overall impact on how we get along as a people, if you will?
Yes, I do
Elaborate.
believe that. I believe because, like I said earlier, like before you meet people, sometimes people do build a reputation about themselves, and sometimes it might be a false reputation or it might be a true, but it kind of really depends on who you're asking, who's around, and the intent behind it. When somebody
Mm-hmm.
is speaking of certain people, or and it just, to me, I feel like when you don't have a mind of your own, and you're very easily influenced by other people, and what other people say with their words, like when you're kind of easily under that influence to where somebody can manipulate you, and kind of just make you look at a person different before you even meet them, or just have that one-on-one time with them, and just it's a different feeling when you come in to the room, because so many people then told you about this person, that person. So when you finally meet them,
Mm-hmm.
it's it throws you off a little bit, because it's like, like I don't get that energy, or I don't get this from this person. So it's like, I think before we kind of get to that point of judging somebody, like I said, I think we do need to kind of look within ourselves first, and ask ourselves some questions before we kind of, like, is what this person telling me, is it good? Is it going to help me, as far as if I ever meet this person, interact with them, build a relationship with them, whatever? Is it going to help you in a positive or a negative way? And I feel like you
Yeah.
just kind of have to, what's that freaking word? See the difference between those, read between the lines, and just
Yeah.
make your best judgment call, what you feel is right.
Yeah. So you know what? So like, it's so many different like lanes we can kind of go down with this, because I didn't even think about what you just said. So like what you just said, that's a really good point, right? So it's like, let me give y'all an example, and Amaru, you tell me like if I'm on point or not, right? So it's like, okay, you're with a group of people. Maybe they're people you know, maybe they're people you don't know that well. It's just people, right? And you're with them, and you're just chilling, waiting on what's her face to show up, what's his face to show up. You don't know this person, but the group of people that you're with is all like, oh my God, remember when, and oh my God, and I wonder if, and I can't believe it. I don't even really like it. I'm, no, 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 no. Right? So now you're sitting there like, okay, like you don't even have a chance. But then also, we can get deeper with that. Sometimes subconsciously, now the person walks up and you're like, you don't even know them. And now you're looking at them like some kind of way just because you took all that in, not even knowing the person, and, so on and so forth. So, right. So now we don't have
Yeah.
the opportunity, like we're kicking it off on a horrible foot because we don't even like give them the opportunity to introduce their true selves, because we already think we know who they are based on other people's
Mhm.
judgment, which now turns into ours towards them. Make it make sense. Anyway.
I like it.
Um,
I like.
but yeah, so look. So let me ask you this thing, because you took it down the lane of, like I said, people influencing your judgment. So when is a time, and I'll try to come up with an example too. This is totally like on the fly right now, but when is a time where you judge somebody? Like you don't have to say their name or anything. Just be like straight up where you judged them and you ended up wrong. Because sometimes we're right. You know what I mean? We get that gut and it's like, and that has nothing to do with anybody else's opinion. But like, when have you judged someone and been wrong? Like that wrong?
mm, I want to say maybe at an event um that I was attending,
Mm-hmm.
and um I've talked to somebody that probably worked with this person before, or a few couple other people, and they, like, automatically, they just kind of they started talking about this other person immediately, and it just kind of it throws it threw me off a little bit because you didn't even bring that person up, but the fact they just kind of almost like in a way gossiping about that person is just like it was like okay, I'm hearing all this different stuff from multiple people. So it's like at some point in your mind, you think to yourself like, well, it kind of got to be true because multiple people are saying the same thing, or they
Mhm.
are saying the same thing, but just probably in a different version of how they perceived it. But it's just like it does kind of off the back when I did meet that person, it was just like, oh, okay, like having a conversation and actually asking them like, I don't know you, but just to kind of come up on the right foot, I've heard this,
Mhm.
but I want to hear your story. I want to hear from your
Oh,
side
so
and
you
your
kind of
perspective.
approached them. You approached them in that moment. Like, look, this is what I heard, and I just want to be straight up, and I want to kind of, okay, so that's a different angle
Yeah.
too. Okay. So how did it go?
I
Like
want to
at
do
the
it.
end of the day, how'd that like work
Uh,
out?
to me, I feel like it worked out. It worked out good. Um, we ended up working together on a few stuff behind the scenes. And just like we created something good in the midst of all of that, and um just really getting to know that person one on one, spending time with them, and it's like you know, I don't see what these other people are seeing, and maybe because maybe those people probably did something to you, and you probably had boundaries set. So when they
Mhm.
cross those boundaries, and you kind of enforced it or reinforced it or let them know, hey, I put down boundaries, or you're not respecting my boundaries. So now I have to re, you know, re reevaluate things and let you know, hey, these are my boundaries. I won't settle. And so when
Mhm.
they probably the way that you probably said it, they probably felt like you were either being mean, you're probably being an asshole, or but no, you were
Mhm.
just saying, hey, these are my boundaries. I will not accept this. I will accept this. And when you cross those boundaries, then you got to expect for people to either they're going to be happy or sad or whatever. But when you cross those boundaries or you kind of overstep that boundary that people have placed, then yeah, a person is going to feel some type of way because they let you know, okay, these are my boundaries, these are my healthy boundaries, these are things that I don't tolerate, and then when you kind of go against that, it rubs that other person the wrong way too. So I could understand how people could make up certain things or say certain things and like, well, this person's a bad person. Well, what did you do to that person
And it's kind of
for them
like,
to react?
exactly. Or even like what, not even necessarily did you do to the person? Like, what have other people done to the person? What's happened to the person? Like, what makes them kind of like the way that they are, right? But on the boundaries tip, like, I've been thinking about boundaries a lot lately and kind of how to, like you said, not come off like shitty, basically, or whatever for setting your boundaries because everybody needs boundaries. So, kind of what you just said that made me kind of something click for me is that, okay, if somebody gets an attitude or feels some type of way because you have boundaries set, then it's almost like apparently like, so what, like, do you want to cross those? Like, is that a problem? Because if you're even having a problem with my boundaries, then that's a problem in itself that maybe we need to unpack, if you will. Like, what's going on here, you know?
Nah, that's
Um, but yeah, I'll say so. Like, for me, and this has kind of been like a lifelong thing, right? It seems like the people that come into my life that I am like, oh, hell no, nope, like that is not my type of person. I cannot, like we are not, and we always end up kind of like, at first, and I'm like, they're a complete this and that and like from the judgment how I've judged people in my life. It seems like those people are always the people that I end up the coolest with and that I stick around with the longest. And I think maybe because we both do have boundaries, or maybe because we both just are such strong personalities, I think is a lot of it too. Maybe because we're both judging each other in the moment. You know what I mean? But then the more time you kind of give that person or whatever, things start to kind of, and as time goes on, it's like, oh shit, that person is not how I thought that they were because of my
yeah,
own insecurities, we'll say, or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird, and that might sound strange. Make that make sense too, y'all. But like, yeah, a lot of people that I've judged I end up being very close with. And like I said, that's not to say that if your gut is telling you somebody's not a good person or whatever, then that's a whole different. That's for a later show. But you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, the boundaries are important. So let's lighten it up real quick, real quick, real quick, real quick. So on some boundaries. So like mixing it up, meow, 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 on some mixed messages shit. What was your favorite cartoon growing up? No age bracket, nothing. Like straight up favorite cartoon ever in your life. Actually, so not even growing up, like just overall favorite cartoon.
Mm,
Don't you love how like your mind goes blank when you get like you would probably
I
know that if you would think,
yeah.
but like it's like the pressure.
I would have to say Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Courage the Cowardly Dog, y'all. Soak that shit up. That is what I was not. I wasn't ready. I was over here like in my head. I was like, I really liked Ren and Stimpy was fucking hilarious. I was like, this shit was like sick, but it was funny. So tell me more about Courage the Cowardly Dog. What's going on with that?
Well, from my synopsis, from when I used to watch it, it was more so of this kind of dog that was in a shelter, and these elderly people adopted this dog in the middle of nowhere, and being in the middle of nowhere with no type of life or anything, just being on a farm, the dog experienced uh these different types of paranormal activities and different things. And even though he's scared of all these things, at the end of the day, he ends up finding the courage to save the people
Mm-hmm.
that that he loves the most, even if he's scared, he's panicking, but it's like even at the end of the episode, it's just like, you know what, even though the older guy may like mistreat him, but he's still okay, you know what, you did this, but I'm gonna overlook that because it's love in my heart and I love you guys, so I'm still gonna save you. I'm still gonna, at the end of the day, I'm still gonna give you that love, even though you're mistreating me, even though you're doing it. Now I say that is right, but that lesson, I feel like for me, that I got from it was unconditional love,
Nice.
practicing that every time. Like, I'm not saying that you got to stay in this situation if somebody is mistreating you, but
Right.
most of the
For sure.
time practicing that unconditional love, because I feel like that's what some or most people need. They just really need that love because they never had it from other
Yeah.
people. So it's just like once you kind of show them that unconditional love, and that this love does exist versus somebody that has conditional love, or they only love you under certain conditions of what you do for them, then I feel like that will really help you at the end of the day, and it will help you as far as how you can pick better people in your lives and discern from, okay, who's good for me, who's not good for me, who loves me
Right.
unconditionally, and who loves me only when I do certain things for them. So I
Right.
feel like that helps a lot,
That was
at least in
well.
my eyes.
Look, see. Hey, hey, hey. There's always a reason behind the questions, y'all. Did we know we were getting all that out of cartoons? We didn't, but we did. So let's fucking talk about it. So look. So what I got out of that, and I've never, so I'm about to have to like, I'm like, where's the cowardly dog? Like, why don't I know who this is? So now I'm gonna have to look up this dog. Fine, we'll figure that out. So I might put that link in the comments to an episode. But anyway, I mean in the description. Y'all know what I mean. Anyway, so I'm like that's crazy. So I'm like, Courage the Cowardly Dog had to stay headstrong, y'all. We've talked about that too. He had to stay headstrong because apparently he had a bunch of shit coming at him and he was not treated the best, right? But Courage, the Cowardly Dog, totally had courage and knew himself well enough to know that even though these people are treating me like shit, I know that I want to do the right thing. And they may have done some fucked up shit, but people are people. And oh God, if this person's in a situation and there's something I can do, and like you said, don't put yourself in a situation. There's levels. And if we have to break it down, ask in the comments. But at the end of the day, do the right thing. And you still, if somebody's drowning and that person pissed you off 2 weeks ago, don't let them drown. I mean, damn, you know? And like you said, and I'll talk about me. Like I said, mixed messages, particularly, is a show to like, I want my viewers to get to know me. I want my guests to get to know me, and I want to almost be in like a more, we'll say, like vulnerable place for my viewers than I typically am, because I have a lot with me, and I feel like as I'm growing, as a person, I'm able to share as a person, and in turn, I hope that that is able to help, somebody out there. So with the we'll talk about the unconditional love piece. Love is a major thing, right? And what you said at the end was perfect. It's like who unconditionally, like, truly loves you, and who just loves you when, yeah, I think you said you're doing the right thing, or you're doing something they you know y'all know he said it, it was
Yeah.
good. So but anyway, so for me, it's like with all this shit, and I always say I hate it when people say I've been through so much. I'm like, oh, shut up. Like, we all have, okay? Like, you're not special. It might be different levels of fucked up, right? And like, that's
Yeah.
where we have to understand that things affect people differently too, and so on and so forth. And that's why that judgment piece ties into everything. People go through shit. You don't know what it is. You don't know why they're acting how they're acting, right? But for me,
Yeah.
with all the shit, it's like over the years, I went from like the most loving, caring, want to do shit for people, even if I probably shouldn't be doing it, to just like the most like ice cold block of ice. I mean, like, for real, heart ice. Like, so it's like, okay, that makes you bitter. That made me bitter. That made me angry. That made me, all the stuff. Shit. But what I realized is, urge the cowardly dog. What I realize is that I know who I am, right? And if I keep holding all that with me, then I'm not going to be able to show that like unconditional love, or receive that unconditional love that I want to give and receive, because it's impossible. You know what I mean? So that's when it comes to working on yourself as well. You have to make a constant conscious effort, as I say, to work on yourself, show that unconditional love. And at the end of the day, anything that you put out is going to come back to you, and anything that's meant for you is going to come to you. You're not going to have to force it, right? So I think that was good. I think that was good. But anyway, what? Just real quick, tell us just a little bit about you. Like you said, you did music. I know you do some other stuff. Like, as far as your creative process and what you do, how does that just kind of help you to stay headstrong? And tell us what you do and why it helps.
Mm, my creative process is different. I noticed that in that creative space, when I start to get back in that creative space, because it takes me a while to start writing things, to actually, because my thing is, when I do write things, I want to write things that it relates to the everyday average person. Um, so it's not, I don't never want to speak on things or speak about things that I never personally experienced, but I can empathize with people and sympathize. But it just, I feel like if I personally haven't gone through it, I don't want to put the wrong message out there. And when it comes to being creative, I want to be try to be authentic as possible. And when I do talk about these things, I want to, like I said, I want, when what I say, I want it to, hit home for people, and to understand that, I'm not just making sad songs because I'm sad or depressed. It's more like, it's more of
Yeah.
a self reflection, when I can look back and like, okay, I need to talk about this because this is what I'm seeing now, right now, as far as when I go on social media, if I read the newspaper, this is what I see that is going on. So if I see a certain similar story, I'm like, okay, let me try to process it. Not always write it into a song, but just me writing in a journal, or whatever, and try to understand, man. Like, okay, well, this person, or I seen this, or a tragic happened with it. So it's like almost you trying to understand all the things that you're trying to process, and even with that process, it's more like I have to take time and walk by myself. Or I notice that I'll hold things in, or sometimes it's like I just break down and I cry, and most of the time I feel better because I realize that a lot of things I needed to release, And
Yeah.
me not trying to, I try not to hold things in. I really do, but it's just sometimes it's just once you kind of had all that tough love all your life, it's like that's kind of what you know. And it's not like I don't want nobody to baby me or nothing like that, but it's just like sometimes even as a man, you're still a human being with emotions
Yeah.
and all these things. So you do need that kind of that
Release.
comfort. And
Yeah.
hey, I it may not be perfect right now, but it will get better if you just believe, and and you keep working, and you take time for yourself, take care of yourself, and different things like that. So it's just like with that creative process, I feel like I'm learning every time. Let it go.
Yeah.
Don't hold on to
Yeah.
nothing. Don't, because the more you do it, it's going to tear you up. Because you could be happy and then be sad the next minute, and you're angry. Like you going through all these emotions, you don't even know why. You don't even know why you feel this way. But
Yeah.
it's just like it's one of them things that you do need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your mental. And how I do that is just me, like I said, going for walks or crying, reading books, learning from other people, just talking. Just if I don't have the answers, then I'll ask other people that's around me or peers, or because my whole thing is to be better. I want to be better as a man, as an individual, as a father, son, whatever. I just want to be better overall. So if I know that I see people that's trying to do the same thing, then I'm going to gravitate towards that kind
Right.
of energy, because that's the whole. I feel like that's the whole plan as us experience this life as human beings. We're just having experiences to love, to be better at the end, and and I feel like that's what it's about. Just
Yeah.
being better at the end.
Yeah, I think that was well said. I mean, I can relate and agree with you like on a lot of stuff that you just said. That's why I was like excited to talk to you. I knew that we would have like a good conversation, doing something like this. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's the goal for me too. Like I said, a constant conscious effort to be better, right? So with that being said, you talked about writing your music. Like the whole reason I'm doing this, and it's a trial and error. You'll see all types of different phases throughout, my channel. But ultimately, trying to kind of put it all together for you guys and get it out of here. Ultimately, it's the same thing. I try to make things that are relatable, that like the average person has gone through or can relate to. I like to talk to people and learn people. I like to, be self-aware and make sure that I am bettering myself and trying to treat people better, treat myself better, things like that. But ultimately, that's kind of the point of the show. Like, I have had experiences that I want to share and kind of, as the episodes go on too, maybe even get a little deeper with people as far as things that we've been through, how it affected us, like for real, how it affected us, and our relationships with other people, and now the outcome and kind of what we did to get there. But I mean, even when we first started talking, we kicked it off like just kind of with some basic just judgment, like wide open.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. And you threw like all this shit in the mix that I didn't even think about judgment. So it's like that's why we're here. Here's my take. Here's his take. What's your take? Let us know. Or if we're saying something good, take it. Like we're here to give it to you. You know what I mean? It's all about being better as people. And one of my favorite people, and y'all can judge me right now if you want. What's her name? Oh, Khloe Kardashian. She was on Jay's shot. Right. I'm like, who can I throw at y'all? Like, Khloe Kardashian, she was on Jay Shetty and on his podcast or whatever. And she was like, if all of us as people, like if each individual could just be 5% better, like the world would be a much better place, right? So simple
Mm-hmm.
things like what we're talking about, if we just take those teeny little things and like dig within ourselves, try to better ourselves, apply that growth and, share that light and show that love towards other people, that's our 5%. And maybe we can, share it with somebody else and they grab their 5% and so on and so forth. But I thought that made a lot of sense, you know? So, um,
Exactly.
but yeah, 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 yeah. So is there anything else here on Mixed Messages today that you were just like dying to talk about or want to say or like talk to me?
I it's it has been, like I said, it has been different things that cross my mind, things that I'm more so as far as see kind of lately, as far as, like I said, going back to the unconditional love and knowing who you are, and not judging people that come from a different background, and because everybody is raised different, they I feel like we're all the same, but we just come from different backgrounds. We come from different places, and everybody has different faces, but I feel like we kind of all go through the same struggle. And I feel um like a lot of things that I see now more so kind of popping up is more kind of the I guess the relationships, between men and women, and kind of people just pointing the finger at each other instead of
Hmm.
just kind of looking within, because it's like, okay, everybody, if you dated 10 people, all those 10 people can't be shitty.
Right.
I'll give it.
That's so
I'll give it
true.
3 out of 10. 3 out of 10.
That's
But
so
it's just
true.
like, it's like either you could choose to, like you said, take that, look inside you, take it. Don't necessarily be hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up for past mistakes, because life
For
is
sure.
trial and error. So you're learning as
Yeah.
you, especially when as a child, nobody really taught you as far as how to handle your emotions, how to have emotional intelligence, how to,
Right.
when somebody does something to you, don't go back and, I'm gonna get my revenge, I'm gonna get my lick back. No,
Like for what?
show love, like, because at the
Hmm.
end of the day, you hurting them is not hurting them. Like my auntie
Hmm.
always told me, that's you trying to hurt somebody is like you drinking the poison and expecting it affect them, and it's not. You're killing
Yeah.
yourself by doing
Yeah.
that. So it's just like, if you could turn the other cheek, or even just walk away from the situation without it, being no hassle or incidents, then I feel like that would be the best thing, as far as, because you're showing that unconditional love. And even if you keep doing that, you're still planting the seed. Whatever that
Yeah.
whatever that you do, your words, they plant a seed. And it's like,
They
once
do.
this come out your mouth, you can't take it back. Once them words fly
Hmm.
out, you can't take it back. And that person, they can feel however they want to feel, whether they want to forgive you or not. But it's just, as long as you take that, okay, I fucked up, I messed up, I can own up to it, take accountability, responsibility. It wasn't right. I did have a couple people try to help me, but it just, you sometimes you be stuck in your own mind, and you got so many people that's in your ear, and it becomes a whole mess of just, it just has you
Yeah.
complacent. It has you all over and jumbled, and now your life becomes chaotic and messy. So now you like, whoa, let me take a step back. What is
Yeah,
going on here now?
you really do. Like, you really have to stay headstrong, and it's hard with people in your ear, and it's hard if you allow people in your ear by talking about it. 'Cause sometimes we want to talk. I know I want to talk about it, and a lot of times talking about whatever I have going on has almost been, I guess, like counterproductive. We'll call it, because where I thought it was going to make me feel better, now I got more people in my ear, right? So now my head is really, and it's like you have to stay headstrong and really just focus on within you, and then you also have to, make sure that you, oh, damn, I lost my train of thought. I'm not even gonna lie. I did. But I'll kind of, oh, emotions. You have to, and I'm emotional. I'm an emotional bitch. I mean, I'm horrible. Like, it's horrible. Like, I'm watching a cute commercial and I'm like, oh my God, the puppies. Oh my God, they're so cute. Like, I'm ridiculous. So, but what I have learned, and I'm learning and I'm currently working on, y'all. So I can't even lie and say I got it on lock. But like, as far as the emotions are concerned, it's like you have them, have them, have them, have them. We have to have them. You know what I'm saying? Release them, let them out. Don't wallow in them shits. Have your 30 minutes, have your moment, have whatever, and then get up and keep it moving. So that's a huge thing. Also, with the and figure out, how you're going to do it. Like you said, emotional intelligence. I wanted to ride with that, but that's so much to talk about. But like, emotional intelligence is huge. That like ties into everything that we've talked about. But as far as the I'll take it back to the relationship piece of things, right? So, what I have learned personally, and I think that this is very important, is especially being in a long term relationship, right? Because I was in a like 10, 11-year relationship with my daughter's father. So, especially being in that, and then whatever, after the fact, I've really learned that on the relationship piece, you have to understand that each person is an individual person. So you come together to to be together, to have a partner in crime almost, for lack of better terms, understanding who each other are, and if changing anything, changing for the better and growing together. But what that means is that I'm still Marianne and you're still Amaru. So that's when shit gets complicated when you're getting with people, because it's like you could potentially think that you're going to change this person. Like, oh, Marianne likes to go out and have a great time, but I'm a homebody. So, but I'll get her there. No, you probably won't. Like maybe I'll tone it down because, of course, we have to compromise, right? But people are who they are. And
Yeah.
what I have, and tell me how you feel about this applying to yourself, but for myself, what I have realized is that I'm such if you know me, you know me. I'll say that. I am just such I can't even think of any words. I just basically somebody for me in a relationship that would work. I don't like talking about this type of shit on the show, y'all. But if we got to make it make sense, that's what we do. That's why we're here. But somebody has to be ready for this. They have to understand that I'm going to be focused on what we're doing right now. I'm going to be out in the mix with a lot of people. You know what I mean? I'm going to be. Hey, let's take pictures. We're going to be all hey, whatever. And somebody has to be able to handle that. Somebody has to understand that I'm a very blunt person. My voice is kind of harsh, so I sound real bitchy when I'm not trying to, all those type of things. And then, of course, I have to apply that towards whoever and whatever they're bringing as well. But my point is, off of what you said, that's when shit in the relationship tips. And you talked about just walking away. Yeah, know when to walk away. But also, don't be so about yourself or so focused on trying to make that person who you want them to be that at the end of the day, all that shit was pointless, because y'all both, if you really had sat back and put some thought into it, knew that was, maybe that wasn't going to work. Does that make sense? That was a lot. Like I had a whole point, and I went kind of
Yeah.
like on a tangent, but yeah, it's, and we have to apply, we have to apply that to, friendships too. I mean, dead ass friendships too, family members too. Just because it's your family does not mean they're going to act some type of way. Does not mean they're going to be on the same page as you. Doesn't mean they're going to have the same thoughts and beliefs as you. They're not going to like the same people as you necessarily. So you have to understand that your whoever your family, whoever your friends, your unit is, you love them for who they are. Like you said, that unconditional love. I think that pretty much sums it up right there. So I could go on, but yeah, good shit, good shit, good shit. But yeah. But look, so I feel like we had a great conversation. I feel like we talked a lot. I hope that we, kind of left you guys with a message. Amaro, if you don't know, the point of mixed messages, it's punny. If you know me, you should know why it's punny. And, I feel like sometimes we send ourselves mixed messages. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It's literally within inside ourselves. It's one day I'm conquering the world. I got this. I'm feeling creative. Everything is great. And then 3 days later, like, I can't do this. I don't even want to go outside. I suck. This is never going to happen. Ugh. So stop sending yourself those mixed messages and apply some of the things that we'll talk about and we have talked about in every episode of Mixed Messages. So with that being said, also I told you guys that we'll always leave you with some feel good work. So Amaru, once again, no pressure. I've been putting you on the spot the whole time. I want you to tell our viewers what the feel good work of the week is. Like I said last week, I believe we did going with your gut, and listening to that. So this week, what are we going to work on so that we can, hopefully hear from some people and maybe talk a little bit more about next week?
I think no, I ain't gonna say I think I know
Hey,
what we should work on because all of us do it, but I feel like what we should work on is number one, being kind to ourselves. Say kind words to ourselves. Think kind thoughts. Know that You are enough. Know that you are amazing. Knowing that you are not perfect, but your imperfections make you perfect, and that being flawed is nothing wrong with that. As long as you know you have that awareness. Okay, you know what? I notice that I do this. I know that I do that. But okay, in fact, now that I know this, I'm aware of it. What can I do to change that? And it starts, like I said, being kind to yourself, loving yourself, nurturing yourself. Like give that love to yourself, that you have the idea that you want somebody to give you that love. So it's like start off with you. Be kind to you. Don't, regardless of what anybody else says outside, be kind to you. When you wake up in the morning, get down on your knees, pray, whatever, and maybe write down, look in the mirror. Today it's gonna be a good day. Today, I'm enough. I'm wonderful. I'm amazing. I'm a
For
fucking super
real,
mega
y'all.
star. Like take that in every day and watch how your brain starts to reprogram, and watch how things around you
Yeah,
start to change, because you're actually speaking that, you're believing it now, and with your whole heart, okay, you know what, I'm enough. God damn it. I don't care what nobody says.
exactly.
Yeah, I can be a little shitty at times, but guess what? I'm aware of it, and I'm making process towards changing that.
Exactly.
But I'm fucking wonderful.
Exactly.
So I feel like
Exactly.
being kind.
Yeah.
Everybody should work on that. Be kind to yourself.
You know what?
You
And I'm gonna
already
add a
halfway there.
sprinkle. I'm gonna add a sprinkle to it. And when you have that setback, and in that moment you get an attitude or whatever, don't beat yourself up about it when you realize that you did it. Just know that you're still a work in progress. And I'm gonna make sure that I do this. I'm gonna change this. This is what triggered that. And here's how I'm gonna try not to do that again, or not to do that again. So yeah, so kind words to yourself this week, guys. Amaru always has some, great words to say. Real life, I mean that. Like you always have, you always have good stuff to talk about and good, a positive message. Like me and you both know, from personal experience, I feel that we've experienced together in a certain way. Like if you think about it, like we both know that shit happens. You go through things. Life is not always butterflies and fairies. You might get caught up looking fucking crazy at some point. You know what I mean? Like all types of shit. But at the end of the day, we're people. We're here to learn. We're here to grow. Nothing, if you feel like you're flawed or you feel like you're a failure or whatever the case is, dust that shit off, because no, you're not. What did you gain from it? Learn from it and be better, for sure. So, yeah. So that's the work for the week, the feel good work. And as you know, you can catch Mixed Messages every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. We thank you so much, Amaru, for coming on the episode. And only you know this. I haven't made anybody else do this, but you're about to kick it off for the world. So if you don't see this episode, you're gonna be caught up. You're gonna be shocked. You're gonna be like, what? What's happening? Come on, you know what to do. You don't know what to do. Come on. Come on. We're gonna have this whole weird, awkward moment at the end of this show right now, but we're gonna do it. This is all staying in. All staying in. Mhm.
This is being I don't know. My brain is like
Meow,
all over
meow,
the
meow,
place.
meow, 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 meow. Hit me with some meows. Hit me with some meows.
Meow.
That'll do. It's been a minute. All right, there you go. Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, guys. We will see you next week. We are out. Peace from meow.